first time reaction to it. So here we go. So 25 years ago, I was about the age about 7 years. No pics when this happened. I was six. I was 6 years old when this happened.
I'm driving for Team Penske. My mom, my dad, myself, we were all there. I'm a rookie.
Kyle and Kurt were in this video.
Just being there, it was Christmas.
Welcome.
There was everything at stake.
I was 30 years old.
So we got both Bushes, Kyle and Kurt,
I'm driving for Team Penske.
Rusty Wallace,
my mom, my dad,
Kyle
myself,
Busch,
we were all there.
Kurt Busch,
Daytona 500.
Just being there,
Malcolm.
it was Christmas to me. There was everything at
I
stake.
don't know who you are.
I was 30 years old. I was 8 years old. Everyone remembers the day. No matter
Logano, Joey Logano.
Christmas to me. There was everything at stake.
I was 30 years old. I was 8 years old.
Ryan Blaney,
Everyone
Joey
remembers
Logano.
the day, no matter really what age you were.
I was
Dale Earnhardt
6.
is one of the sports icons.
As a kid, he was the man in black.
He was the 3 car. He was the real deal.
Dale Earnhardt was larger than life. Everybody was just in awe of him and his
Aura, rough around the edges.
Dale Earnhardt was big.
The Daytona 500. Whose face will grace victory lane today? History.
I'm right back at the water. Earnhardt would have retired right now, wouldn't he? Yeah, Earnhardt would have retired. Okay, so ready, Kyle? Yeah, I'm ready to watch this. So I was 6 years old when the Daytona 500 came out. First time I ever watched it was on WSJV.
Speed,
Fox 28.
Here for NASCAR's biggest race.
Not a typical Daytona 500. It felt as though that it was ratcheted up quite a bit.
This was his first ever NASCAR race. This multi-billion-dollar commitment.
Where NASCAR was headed, it felt like we were bigger than the NFL, bigger than Major League Baseball and basketball.
One to go. The last lap.
Michael Waltrip leading the race, and Dale Jr.'s in second, and Dale was right there as well. Dale's playing protector role, keeping the 2 DEI cars out front.
It's the last lap. It's Daytona 500. Everybody's going for it.
Come on, get in there. The 3 car now. Big trouble. Big right behind him. You got it. You got it. You got it.
The first thing crossed my mind was, oh man, he is going to be so mad.
How about Dale? Is he okay? I hope Dale is okay. I guess he's all right, isn't he? And I could tell in Darrell Waltrip's
Hi.
voice that he was thinking the exact same thing that I was thinking. Dale's gonna be okay, isn't he?
You know, they're fine. He's fine. The guy's superhuman. Like,
I
he's
remember
gonna
that.
get
I
out of
remember
this,
watching it.
you know, no
I was
problem.
6 years
By the time
old.
I got there, all the cars were
Watched my
down
Fox
in
affiliate,
the infield.
WSJV,
When I
Fox
drove
28,
by,
which
I
is
kinda
now
flipped
longer
over.
around.
The things that were happening, like, there's something weird about turn 4 when I drove through there.
Hi.
Gauge double barrel shotgun.
February 18, 2001 is a continental
Sorry, I had a text. I had to read it.
divide. You remember what life was like before that day, and you remember what life has been like after that day.
I was 6 when that happened, back in February 18th of '01. I was 6 years
This is
old.
undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements that I've ever personally had to make.
2001 was a bad year for America. A real bad year for America.
Daytona 500.
I mean,
We've lost Dale Earnhardt.
this is before 9/11, and about a month after 9/11, we had a big tornado outbreak hit my community area. So yeah, 2001 was a big year for us in America. After Earnhardt, a few months later, 9/11.
First met Dale in '79. he left too quick with the impression that he was just a simple person that was very fortunate to have a chance to drive a race car. He was a working man's hero. The blue-collar world and the working man world could relate to him and say, that's my guy. On the track, he didn't get the nickname Intimidator by being anything less than that.
Oh, and Earnhardt spins him out. Dale Earnhardt takes the checkered flag.
Off the racetrack, he was a real person. He enjoyed life and was lighthearted about things that he could be.
If you pull a black flag on me, you know what's going to happen.
I know you're going to move over, I hope.
No more Harold Kennedy.
I'll sweat off of you.
Well, I can sweat off of you too.
I'm not sweating, I'm sweating next week.
And took everything else pretty serious. I would join Dale and take some pretty magnetic trips through Europe or Japan. And those experiences, in a lot of cases, were mine and Dale Sr.'s first experience like that.
First time, the right-handed steering wheel. Something's wrong with this picture.
We'd go to some unique places and got to see some unique parts of the world. Our friendship was established before I became part of the government.
I'm pleased to announce today that I have named Mike Helton Chief Operating Officer of NASCAR.
We understood each other professionally and wouldn't let it get in the way personally. In February 2001, I was the president of NASCAR.
The #1 race, the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500.
It was kind of the launch of a new era for us. A lot of pomp and circumstance.
Start your engine!
You knew the Daytona 500 finishes could be interesting. And a lot of movement can go on in a 2.5-mile stretch between the white and the checkered.
All right, here we go now. This is when it's going to get tangible.
3 wide behind them. The brake car now. Big trouble. Big wreck behind them.
Then we had the wreck at turn 4. Didn't think anything out of the ordinary. But then as the accident unfolded after the race was over with, you got the sense that it wasn't a normal accident. Obviously, there was a responsibility on NASCAR's side to talk about it. And we all kind of looked at each other and says, all right, somebody's got to go to the media center. And I'm not sure how I got the task of doing it, but I did. And talking it out, I just said that, well, how do you tell the world that we lost Dale Earnhardt today?
Thank you.
And somebody said, that's how you do it.
After the accident in turn 4 at the end of the Daytona 500, we've lost Dale Earnhardt.
I see the clip and it didn't, I don't know what I feel. It's almost surreal. It's almost as if it's not really me doing it. I knew what we did after the accident. I knew what we did the rest of the year. But that one moment that got captured is, I don't know how to explain when I see it, other than the fact that it doesn't register as having been me that did that. I was doing what I needed to do on behalf of NASCAR. But at no time did I ever separate the personal side of it from the professional side. I would speak professionally, but my heart would tell me that we lost Dale Earnhardt, but we all lost a really unique, special person.
And my legs looking good.
I'm really glad that I had the personal relationship to fall back on and hurt from. Fans will come up to me and they'll say, I remember you having to announce the loss of Dale Earnhardt. And it gives me some comfort that Mike Helton and Dale Earnhardt even though it was such a tragic announcement, that we're connected. It would have been nice if it was for some other reason.
Hi, I'm Chris Myers from just above Victory Lane here at the birthplace of NASCAR in Daytona. And NASCAR is born again as Fox Sports begins its coverage of the Winston Cup Series.
Dale looking very strong. Your speed. Can you win your second
Hello.
500 today?
We'll see something you probably had never seen on Fox.
As a television producer, he was such a great story, always. He was a bigger-than-life, colorful character.
If you're in a room with 1,000 people, if he walked in the back door of the room without saying a word, we'd all turn around and look because he just changed the air.
He helped change the direction of NASCAR because he was so highly respected.
The first time I met Dale Earnhardt would have been 1996.
Earnhardt, when he started running, I was 16, so I met him then.
You'd heard about the Intimidator and the Man in Black and all those things, and so maybe you expected him to be as big as his statue is now. I was shocked that he wasn't actually
25th anniversary of Earnhardt's death.
But he certainly felt like that.
He was such a great bad guy, for lack of a better term. He was always mad at somebody, and somebody was always mad at him.
I get in the whole lot of blaming up without a finance that make him put out the business here. I didn't run him in the wall or nothing. Then he tried to wreck me after the caution. Now I think he's a little upset.
He made spectacular television.
Make sure your fellow racer can see you coming. If it's Jeff Gordon, put the son of a bitch in the wall. I didn't say that.
Fox had never done any stock car racing at all. They hired me to do quite a bit of things because I was doing it for TNN and TBS, and you know our budget for a race was maybe $300,000. Well, Fox was spending $3 million. It was a huge seminal change in NASCAR, and they came out in February of 2001 with the biggest event of the year.
I was the producer of Totally NASCAR, and I received a call at the start of that week. The 7-time Winston Cup champion would like to be on your television show this week. Do you have any room for him on Friday? But Dale Earnhardt sat down, he looked right into the camera, and he said, "Congrats on the new job, don't f it up." And that was the last conversation I had with Dale Earnhardt. And then, of course, we all know what happened just a couple days later.
Yeah.
I was so happy for Michael Waltrip. That was an amazing moment. But within maybe 10 minutes, my phone rang. And it was my boss, Patty Wheeler. She said, "I believe that Dale Earnhardt is dead. You need to get into the office."
I was bracing myself for all the sorrow to come, all the people who were going to be shocked, brokenhearted, and ruined almost from this.
By the time I made the 20-minute drive over to where we produced the show,
We're back at these doors, real quick. Back at you guys. I'm gonna watch this program in a minute. He's getting a little bit. I'm not done with that guy again. The kid, like, I called him that, not to his face though. Look, Cindy. Yeah. If I was, if I had the power.
Kelton was stepping to the podium, and it was like watching a movie when you know how it's going to end, but you're watching it in a room full of people that don't know yet. We've lost Dale Earnhardt.
I felt really bad for Mike Helton to have to stand up there and tell the world. And you could see just the heartbreak in his eyes, in his demeanor, and just the cracking of his voice.
We lost Dale Earnhardt. He said we, which was all of us. Whether you loved him or whether you hated him or whether you worked in NASCAR or whether you just were a fan, that's we. And then that word lost, it wasn't he's dead, it wasn't he's perished.
Yeah, they actually.
He died in an accident.
Wasn't that the same episode of Futurama where Skinner died? Oh yeah, it was. I think it was the same episode Skinner died. Futurama. I think that same date the last episode of Futurama aired, where Skinner died. I mean, that's still sad.
The NASCAR has lost its greatest driver ever. And I personally have lost a great friend.
The King, Richard Petty's still living.
Quote, and I think that pretty well sums it up for the NASCAR community right now.
Dale Earnhardt's death was the biggest news NASCAR had ever had. Earnhardt was on the cover of the San Francisco Chronicle, who really didn't even know how to spell NASCAR, right? New York Times, BBC, The Today Show, big broadcast television. It was the biggest thing I had ever seen.
Since 9/11. Then, after that, not until a few months later, 9/11 happened. With my boys.
Carried it all in one trip. Sip to that with a sonic refresher.
Bro, we gotta get you on first.
Or you
Don't put life on hold for an education. Access online courses 24/7.
I wish I could do animation.
Someone's popular. I've been selling stuff on eBay. And binds. You paid me? Sold. Find what you love. Sell what you don't. I'm gonna take a really good price on those earrings. eBay. Things people love.
Life can change in a minute. You meet a girl. A few months later, she moves in with her cat. And just like that, twins. Then your mother-in-law moves into hell.
Black bitch.
2 years. Make sure your car keeps up with your life. Turo. Get a long-term rental without the long-term commitment.
This was supposed to be one of the most important races in the history of NASCAR with the new network. It was all so perfect. And now it is the doomsday scenario. How are we going to do this? Rudderless is the term that I used a lot, that 2001-2002 stretch. Everyone had lost their leader. Richard Childress Racing had lost, the man everything was built around. Fox Sports had lost the guy they were using to promote what was happening. Dale Earnhardt Incorporated lost the guy whose name was over the door. Everything at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated was built around one man. When he died, the company was dead. And I gave them credit for continuing to win, and continuing to stay relevant.
Our main focus is to try and maintain and progress with the vision my father had with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated to the best of our ability.
But it was always accounting. It's hard to explain to people now the entire sport went through one person, and it was a race car driver. Mike Helton had lost the guy that he could call and say, what is the garage thinking about this, and are we doing the right thing?
Well, first of all, we're racing at a big disadvantage with no spoilers and no surveillances against everything else that's racing out there. Then NASCAR needs to do something. We can't have to drive the cars after the tires get worn.
If there was ever even the slightest bit of issue, you would see Dale Earnhardt walk straight into the NASCAR Hall. And no one else did that. He was going to go talk to Bill Press Jr., or he was going to talk to Mike Helton. Jeff Gordon was not that guy. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, and Joey Logano are smart. But if they walk in the NASCAR hauler and say, this is what you should do, we'll take that under advisement. If Dale Earnhardt said that, they probably were going to do it.
Yeah, in a couple hours.
He was a singular personality.
Mr. President, we've got a little present here for you to take back. It's a flag that we've all signed. All our autographs on it, so you don't have to go around and get autographs on it.
NASCAR television has not been the same since Earnhardt died, and I say that without any hyperbole at all. The fans, you either hated them or you loved them, but it brought out a tremendous amount of emotion. The kind of emotion I don't think that is still around.
Every fan standing as Dale Earnhardt has powered his way to the front.
I am stopped at the airport, at dinner, certainly at the racetrack, at college football games. I'm stopped all the time to this day and asked, how different would things be if Dale Earnhardt was still here? And they want to talk about the postseason format, and they want to talk about, the next gen car. They want to talk about those things. And my answer is always, no. If Dale Earnhardt was still here, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, we'd go look at their Cup Series championship trophies in a lot of them. He was only going to drive for a couple more years tops. And then he was going to be the boss. And probably doing TV, and running the race team, and the succession plan for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Checkered flag, Dale Earnhardt Jr. First time Winston Cup winner.
I mean, it was all laid out. And I don't know how many wins they have, but I know they damn sure still be in business.
Excuse me, who are you pulling for today? Oh, Dale Earnhardt. Without a doubt. Who are you pulling for today? Dale Earnhardt. Of course.
He's just the best.
He's fantastic. Yes, they have a shrine for him at home.
Dale Earnhardt, a hero to everybody and always will. Okay, everybody rolling?
Malcolm Middle.
My first NASCAR race I went to was at Charlotte Motor Speedway when I was 7 or 8 years old. Dale Earnhardt was it. Everyone in the world, I think, knew who Dale Earnhardt was. He was a superhero, and never thought I'd have the opportunity to meet him. I was 15 years old. Malcolm in the Middle had premiered the previous year and was a really big success for Fox. And they asked me to be the Grand Marshal of the 2001 Daytona 500, which, as a race fan, was such a cool experience. I just remember thinking that everything was just so much greater and grander and so much more energy than I'd ever felt for any sporting event. I've been to the Golden Globes, I've been to the Emmys, but there was nothing that felt like the energy of that afternoon. I was actually filming, I don't know if you remember the show MTV Diary. One of the things I got to do, I went to the driver's meeting, and at the driver's meeting I got to meet a lot of the drivers. And one of those was Dale Earnhardt. I don't get nervous meeting people, or I don't get like starstruck feeling, but he's intimidated, and I was intimidated. He was extremely friendly to me, and I remember he said, I have to say thank you to you. He's like, because your show has brought me and my daughter closer together. He's like, it's something we turn on Sunday nights and we watch together. Another thing he told me was, you know, enjoy it. Enjoy the run, because you never know when it's going to end. I was walking on the grid, he was about to climb in, and I was getting into the pace car. You know, I shook his hand. I was, besides his crew chief, probably one of the last people to talk to Dale Earnhardt the day he died.
Dale Earnhardt is the most prolific restricted plate driver in NASCAR history. He's chasing his second 500 victory, looking to bookend what's been a legendary Daytona career.
We were up on the spotter stand.
15 seconds left.
It didn't seem that bad. We watched, you know, the ambulance and everybody come over. Still, even in that moment, I don't remember thinking that there was anything necessarily wrong. We went back to the hotel, and my mom was actually down. There was a bar. I went up to my room, and there was breaking news, and it was the Mike Helton announcement.
We've lost Dale Earnhardt.
That was one of the most jaw-dropping, heartbreaking moments I've ever experienced in my life. I ran downstairs. The bar was full of people, full of fans, and I ended up announcing it to everybody. The bar went silent. Like, it was such an eerie feeling, meeting like a hero. And that hero was gone. There's a lot of things in my life that people bring up or I see video of, and I can't even remember being there. That is a day that I will never forget. It was the highest of highs and then also the lowest of lows. Maybe I talked to him for a total of 3 minutes, right? That's great, I said 3. I didn't think of that, but a very impactful 3 minutes, especially where my life ended up going. That was an integral part of finding a passion for the sport.
You know, race a truck.
I would give up everything to try to be a part of the magic that is NASCAR that he helped build.
So you're now a race car driver.
And I was going to be making my Daytona debut. The chassis that I drove was actually Sterling Marlin's chassis from that race. It was the universe telling me I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I've never really talked about this out loud, so like I'm speaking, you know, what's truly in my mind. I couldn't help every time that I drove through turn 4, looking up at the wall where I know he hit.
The work that Frankie Muniz has done, he said this moment means something. He's taking all of it in.
You're just so focused on getting in front of the guy in front of you. I remember thinking, like, the feeling that I was having, that emotion that I was having in that moment, was the last thing that he did. He wanted to beat every single person, and it's changed my mentality when I'm in the race car to race every single lap at my absolute best. It took, you know, seeing how Dale drove to realize that, like, you've got to give it 100%. You only have the opportunity right then when you're in the car, and you don't want to look back and regret. It goes back to what he told me the day I met him. You know, enjoy the ride. You never know what's going to end. It says everything. The fact that I got 3 minutes with him, but those 3 minutes I will remember forever. And they literally help shape the person I want to be, right? I don't know where I'd be. Maybe I'm not a NASCAR driver now. And I'm not just saying that because we're doing this. I use that advice in my day-to-day with anything I'm doing. I try to live my life to the fullest.
Just have fun, because you never know when it's going to end. You really don't.
Get down there to the last lap, and you get your front end in there, and the guy tries to cut you off, or he tries to do what he can to keep you back there, you stand your ground. And a lot of times it comes out bad, but a lot of times you win races too. And Earnhardt still got the lead in Toronto.
You know, he was trying to cut me off every way he could.
Didn't mean to really turn around, meant to rattle the scapegoat.
Earnhardt taxing. Round it goes.
He was kind of a rough driver. I mean, people knew that. They loved it. He didn't mind putting a bumper to you and banging you back and forth, you know? It was expected, and it was like, okay, it's Dale.
There's so many Dale highlights of Dale being Dale. There's going to be plenty of imitators, but there's only one intimidator.
We all know his fierce competitive nature.
I don't know. I don't get into that star
You
thing.
felt it. And when he made moves, you had to get out of the way.
Kurt Busch.
It just seemed like there's this aura.
Rookie.
about him.
Rookie after
He was
Dell.
bigger than
Oh, that's right.
like
After
Tiger
he.
Woods or
That's right.
Michael Jordan.
He became a rookie
When
after
you
Dell
get a rookie,
died.
of course, I'm gonna be nervous.
Kurt Busch. He took over your.
At
Took his.
Rockingham, on a fresh set of tires, I caught Dale Jr. so fast I just flat out dumped him.
I wonder if Kurt Busch shoved it. It looked like he did.
Got a little help from Kurt Busch, but I know he probably didn't mean to do it, so it's cool. I won't go back out there and try to kill him.
That was a mess up. So the next week, Dale Sr. just on my phone. Oh, I know what I did. I wrecked your son. I was flat out just thought he was just going to dump me if we were going to be DNF and headed home early.
I don't get into politics or religion.
Senior goes by. And then on the back straightaway, he pulls over on the back straightaway and lets me back by. Yes, he was pissed.
You know, we call Dale Earnhardt the Intimidator. Here's why. Going down in the corner, Kurt Busch goes in the corner, Earnhardt said, "Now, son, I'm going to show you how to get someone out of the way."
He just sat there and wore me out, wanted to sweat me. It was probably the longest 40 laps of my life. He wanted to set the tone of, this is my show, screwed up kid, and you're going to be in a world of hurt.
At Marshall's, our buyers hustle 24/7, so you never have to
Yeah, I'm a US citizen.
or price. We're getting you a better deal because we believe that everyone deserves the good stuff.
Check this out. We're generating the doors with Firefly. Oh, that's sick. Give me some ideas. Try a bunch of different parts. I'm gonna put them all together. Combine them.
Something annoying in this one image.
Level up lunchtime and unlock your chance to win one of 50 Nintendo Switch 2 prize packs.
I don't want to switch too. I did it. Sell it.
Scan the QR code on specially marked Lunchables or visit Lunchables.gg to enter. With Purdue Global, education fits your life, however it looks. So being a mom and a student would look like listening to a lecture while doing laundry. At Purdue Global, the learning you have gained through experience you already have matters. Start your comeback today.
Back in a second, gotta check some real quick. Okay, that is half okay. Okay, it's fully charged. It's charged for tomorrow, good. Are you gonna do that? You sure you do? Do a DRX? A DR? Nope. I'm until later on tonight. It's only 4 to 7. It's only 4 to 8. So tomorrow, that's going to be tomorrow. I gotta do one more thing. Put the phone on the charger. Relax. Don't reset. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, sure. I know I was gonna do that, but last minute I changed my mind. Yeah, I was. Yeah, I almost did it. No, technically yes. Physically no. I don't know why, but yeah, I almost did it. I almost called the number too. No, I'm dead serious. I almost called the number. The new number. I deleted the old number. Yeah. I know, I just thought, I'll wait until after. Maybe I'll do it in July. Or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Talk to you later, bye. Okay, guys, we're back. We had to take care of a call.
22, rookie, on the Daytona 500. I'm with Roush Racing, a top team. I'm Kurt Busch, driving the number 97 Roush Racing Ford. And Fox's big production day, and everything was so new to me. And here I am, just like, this is kind of cool. It's a fairy tale.
February the 18th, 2001. I'm driving for Team Penske. I was super focused myself going into that race.
Okay.
With bigger ass wrecks or something like that. Again, I want to, you know, have a clean 500.
I don't know. I don't care.
Tickets to the grandstand, sort of on the turn one side. It was really cool. I mean, it was going to be a special day. My mom, my dad, myself, we were all there.
Kyle Busch.
Cheering on Kurt.
I remember the intensity was sky high that day.
He has died. Kyle has died. Just died their day.
Everybody expected Dale to win the race. They expected him to run up front.
You know, the spotter was making a joke when we were behind the 3-car. If he turns right to go out the racetrack and go get a hot dog, you turn right. Just follow the 3-car.
Kurt Busch is right there with him. He's driving away on the race. He's hanging right in there and doing a real good job.
I was just in the mix with the gang, right? Trying to mind my own business and not do anything too dramatic. We hit doors twice.
Oh, did you see Earnhardt bounce off Kurt Busch on third floor? Dale probably looked over and was like, "Who is this guy? Oh, it's a rookie that's in my door."
What's up,
He
bro?
had to show him his display.
Nothing. Just watching a video.
He's number one.
There it is. Kurt, you're number one.
And then I see his middle finger out the window. I'm like, man, what did I do? Like, dude, I can't see this.
A historical item.
Like, I keep
Something historical.
putting my toes right in front of him, and never did get to talk to him about it. Never did get to clear the air.
Right on their feet. They want to see the finish of the Daytona 500. They'll look at the white flag. Last lap, I come off at turn 2, and I had a good draft off the car in front of me.
I just live in Michigan. It's all I do.
All the way up to third.
These videos don't show it, so yeah.
Him shooting across in front of me, going up hit the
Kitty,
wall.
kitty.
And the first thing crossed my mind was, oh man, he is going to be so mad. I'm like, I've seen a lot of wrecks like this. I didn't think it was enough to be the last time I'd see Dale.
What I remember was there was a big screen that showed Kenny Schrader get out of his car and walk over to Dale's car, and Kenny like waving to the safety workers, "Hey, come on over here, need your help." That was the worrisome moment right there, where it was like, this one was different.
It's a dangerous sport, man. Accidents happen, crashes happen. None of us ever thought that the immortal Dale Sr. would go out that way.
Sorry, they're not hiring right now. They're not hiring. I'm volunteering. If you need, they already hired. They don't need no. They don't need no help in the zoo.
Dale and I had
You can volunteer, but that's about it.
side by side.
Got a volunteer form at the zoo.
And we were going to meet back at the boat that night and talk about how the 500 went. I sat on the boat,
Right.
and I looked over at his boat, and there was nobody there. I had no idea that when he hit that wall, that'd be the last time I'd see Dale Earnhardt.
It's like the sport stopped. None of us knew where we were going. None of us knew what we're supposed to do next. It felt like all of us were lost puppies.
You know, I've always said when I'm tired of getting in the race car, I think I have second thoughts about getting in and want to be doing something else, want to be somewhere else. You know, that may be the time. I don't know when the time's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to know it. Probably just won't have the desire to go out there and do it anymore. When I probably want to retire, and that's probably going to be when I'm about 85. Who knows?
When Dale passed, I feel like there was a huge void there that I don't know that
I don't know.
back up. There was just a way that Dale did stuff on the track where it was like, you know, I wish I could do that.
Only have 3 cats.
Look, these drivers are great nowadays. They really are. You look at some of the talent they got out there, it's incredible. But there's nobody ever going to match Dale Earnhardt. Just my opinion. And you know what? I know I'm right.
Bush is gone.
I've made moves that have been, you know, sort of sketch or whatever, and I've come out of it and I've won, or I've made a cool pass or something like that. And it's like, oh yeah, that's Dale, you know.
You're gone.
I could see a few of those times where
We lost Greg Biffle. We lost Kyle Busch this year.
that's badass, you know. And there's other times when it's like, no, it's not the same.
It's going to take 5 years.
No, but only a 3. I don't have 25. Only a 3.
To one Dale Sr. You know, you got qualities from Tony Stewart, but he wouldn't take BS from anyone.
Well, Tony, what angered you at the end of the race? What did you take issue with? What the hell do you think I was mad about? I'm gonna bust his ass. Thanks, Tony. Thank you.
My brother would outcraft you. Dale Jr. had the same prowess on the super speedways. I think it takes a the things that Senior did, there's a lot of drivers out there that emulated his moves, but you can't duplicate the agility.
Why would you want to do something that you know darn well could turn around and bite you, could kill you?
I know many names. Much has been made about driver safety this week, given the loss of Dale Earnhardt, the Hans device. There are at least 6 or 7 drivers that are wearing that in this race.
The drivers, the wives, the families, the crew chiefs, they ought to be the ones that say, you're not getting in that car unless you put this on.
It used to be uncommon to hear racers talking about safety issues. It was a form of denial. But
The times have changed.
My dad was around a lot of guys getting hurt or killed in the sprint car world.
Ronnie Blaney.
Through the 80s and 90s.
Wow, so he's a little older than I am. He's like 8 years old when this happened? Wow. So he's not that old. He's a little older than me.
And he always was just dumbfounded why the safety wasn't better than what it was.
There's no question this is a very difficult time. The NASCAR has lost its greatest driver ever.
At the time, I was 10 years old. My parents were like, whoa, wait a minute, this is dangerous. And, you know, you start hearing about these head and neck restraints and stuff going into NASCAR. You know, I lived in Atlanta, and that's where they were building the Hans device, and they didn't have one for kids. So I went there, and they molded it off of my neck, my shoulders, the first child's Hans device, right after Dale's death. That moment really just kind of spurred all this development.
The safer barrier, steel and foam energy reduction barrier.
You saw the safety stuff just immediately ramp up.
Head and neck restraints are mandatory, effective immediately.
Take your pick, whether it's the Hans, belts, seats, racetracks, car safety. They just keep building off of each other, and well, I think they've saved a lot of lives.
Luckily, when I got into Cup, a lot of those advancements were already there.
Joey Logano is around. Wheel barreling down the back straightaway. End over end, side over side.
The wreck that killed Dale Earnhardt has happened many times since. Maybe even harder.
Oh, into the wall hard goes Ryan Blaney. What a shot he took.
I look at that wreck, it was identical to what happened to Dale, and I was fine. I think it just shows how far we've come, where you can take identical wrecks and walk away from things like that.
The legacy of Dale Earnhardt lives on in so many ways. Who he was and the legend of the sport as a competitor.
The Daytona 500 is ours. We've won it, we've won it, we've won it.
And all these really awesome, badass things. But it also lives on in the safety side of our sport because no one's forgotten about that day. And nobody ever wants to see that happen again.
It's easy to look back on these things like, well, this should have been in place and that should have been in place. It's unfortunate that tragic things happen to where then it progresses. But back then, like, you didn't know what you didn't know.
I don't think the process of continually looking for improvements from the safety side has ended since Earnhardt's crash. Like, that is a journey that will always have to continue.
Talking to guys who were around the sport for a long time, you know, they would always talk about, well, we didn't used to do it this way, we found all these things to make it better, and this is why we do it this way. I don't think the rush for driver safety would be what it is today if Dale wouldn't have passed away.
The title of this documentary is We Lost Dale Earnhardt. Your words. Most people think about what we lost that day, but what did we gain from Dale's life?
When you get to my age, you buried a lot of friends and you buried a lot of family members. As dearly as you loved them, and as hurt as you were when they passed away, they lived inside you by the memories. That's a good feeling. I like the idea of thinking about
Big ball.
something like Dale
Sean
Earnhardt.
Puss. Working out the pus.
Welcome to my office. I'm glad y'all can be here. This is where I work every day.
What Dale's given us is not even measurable. He would catapult for our sport.
Logano.
He's still like number 3 or 4 merch sales today. He still has way more t-shirts than me.
Race fans are the greatest people in the world.
Dale Earnhardt definitely has, still to this day, probably one of the most devoted followers.
You see people driving down the road with freeze on their car. Who the hell is driving around with a freaking 12 on their car? Nobody. You got thousands of people out there with threes that they spray painted on their car.
I go to college campuses every weekend covering college football. I got these kids who were born at least 5 years after Dale's death, holding those beers and throwing those threes and looking at me going, raise hell, play to Dale.
Dale has left a piece of iconic culture in our DNA that will perpetuate itself.
I mean, every time I go into a parking deck, I park on the 3rd floor. 3 for Dale, right? I mean, everybody says that.
3! Thanks for watching Do It for Dale. Thanks for watching Do It for Dale.
He's still known as Dale Earnhardt, the badass of all badasses, to people that don't even know who he is. That guy was the real deal.
What we gain from Dale Earnhardt is a two-part answer. Number one, we gain being able to see this is as good as it can possibly be done. And then the second part of that is now we have racers who can try to do that, who can push that car as far as the laws of physics will allow. And if they break one of those laws, they're going to walk away. Anyone who tries to act like we've wrapped everyone in bubble wrap, you know what? The hell with y'all. Because you weren't covering funerals, and you weren't burying friends, and this idea of it's not as tough as it used to be, damn right it's not, and I never wanted to go back to that.
Oh my God! That was awful. Oh my God, that is not good. That is not good.
What an incredible sight to see Austin Dillon walking away from that 3 car that is demolished, and the crowd roars.
We've not buried a single race car driver in NASCAR's top 3 series since February 18, 2001. I always say that reluctantly because I never want to change that sentence.
This is undoubtedly one of the toughest announcements that I've ever personally had to make.
Fans that are of my age will remember that day. Exactly where they were, what they were wearing, and what their life was like on that.
Deep down, people always have something special. But you have to go when no one's watching to see how special you really are.
8 o'clock.
New sulfate-free Unicare by Swab. No sulfates, no parabens, no mineral oils. Just glossy shine, deep moisture, and vibrant color that lasts. Swab. No, never felt so good.
Now this is some seriously athletic stuff, while this is a little more athletic-ish. And at Sierra, we love it all. Whether you're going real fast or slow to reeling it in, Sierra has all the brands you want at the prices that let you do it all. From athletic to athletic-ish.
We've lost Dale Earnhardt.
You know, it was 1 year later, then it's 5 years later, now all of a sudden it's 25 years later. You remember that day like it was last week.
You know, every year on his birthday, there's still fans that stop over there on Highway 3 and, you know, drop off flowers at the DEI building.
The loss of Dale Earnhardt had a collective impact on the psyche of the NASCAR family more than people really talk about. He was the intimidator. He was indestructible. He was the least likely guy to be killed in a race car. And in an instant, all of us realized how fragile life really is.
There are only a few people that transcend time. It's Elvis. It's Heath Ledger. It's James Dean. It's Marilyn Monroe. Losing them earlier than we expected to lose them turns them into an even bigger figure than they could have been had they still been with us.
his accolades were magnified with his death. Passing away in the final corner of the Daytona 500 with your son and your other car that you own out front. You can't even make up a script like that. And that's what makes him larger than life, and it will be for centuries.
Sometimes the myth of him overrides, the reality of him, and the reality of him, to me, is better than the myth.
I can have all kind of problems, and people say, well, that doesn't bother you on the racetrack. What do you think about it on the racetrack? I think about beating the guy in front of me or behind me.
Dale Earnhardt, Dale Earnhardt takes the checkered flag.
He really was a self-made hero. His personality was authentic. He was not playing a role. That was really Dale Earnhardt. We've lost so much authenticity, and I think that's what resonates the most.
One day, there might be something. That kid we look at and go, that's next to Earnhardt right there, might actually be that. But you know what? My inclination is that we'll never see it.
His name will always be around. As long as that fan that loved him that much is still alive.
None of us will have the legacy that Dale Earnhardt has 25 years from now.
I hope 25 more years go by, we're still talking about Dale and what he meant to the sport. And I think that's the most important part. Even though they're gone, they're still here. You lose them, but they're not lost.
That was a good video. Good, but